Hey, today we are going to learn about how to actually find probability. So, yesterday we learned that probability is just how likely is something to happen. We mentioned that probability has a number associated with it, and I said that we would talk about that later. That's what we're going to do today. So, probability is usually written either as a fraction or a percent. So, we're going to look at it as a fraction first. Imagine having a dice. Just a regular six-sided dice. And I want to say, hey, what's the probability of rolling a 2? The way we find that number or that probability is we're going to make a fraction. The part we care about goes on top. So we care about what's the chance of rolling a 2 on a six-sided dice. Well, the part is how many times could we get a 2? Well, our options are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Those are all of our options. Of all of these options, the number 2 only shows up once. So the number of times that the part we care about happens is 1 time. Well, there are a total of 6 different options we could get. We could roll 6 different numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. But only one of the sides of our dice has the number 2 on it. So the probability of rolling a 2 on a dice is 1 over 6. Now, if it asks for a fraction, then you are done. If it asks you to turn it into a percent, you have to do a little bit of extra work. On ALEKS, sometimes it'll give you a calculator. If you don't have your own calculator, so you could use your own calculator, you could use a calculator on the internet, just in Google, type in calculator, or you could use a calculator on a phone, anything like that. I know that you guys are used to using these fancy calculators. They have a lot of functions that calculators on the phones don't have. I'm going to show you how to do this on just a regular calculator on like a phone or on the computer, like on Google. To turn this into a percent, we're going to do the numerator, or the top, divided by the bottom. So I'm literally just going to do 1 divided by 6 equals, and I got 0.16 repeating. Well, that is it as a decimal. Now to turn it into a percent, I'm going to move my decimal 2 spaces, 1, 2, and it is 0.16. Sorry, wow, I just said 0.16. It is 16. Now we know that there's a whole bunch of 6s after this, so it's 16.6 repeating percent. Sorry, it's kind of squished right in there. Make sure you read the directions. It might say round to the nearest decimal or round to the nearest whole number, but that is how we find or turn a fraction into a decimal, and then move it 2 decimal spaces to the right. So moved it 2 spaces to the right, and that turned it into a percent for us. So just as a recap, to find that number for probability, you put the total number of options on the bottom. So there were a total of 6 possible different numbers we could roll. And the number for the part you care about on the top, well, there's only one possibility or one side that has the number 2. So we just put the number 1 because there's one side on the top of our fraction.